Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Vincent from DBV Technology, and I'm going to give a presentation about Ropeless RISER, a system and method to implement ropeless fishing based on our proven riser technology, and also to introduce a new company, Ropeless Systems Incorporated. Before I talk about RISER and Ropeless RISER, I'd like to provide some background about DBV Technology. DBV was a company I established in 2008 to capitalize on decades of experience I had gained in underwater acoustic positioning and to apply it to many technological shortfalls and gaps that I was observing. I gained this experience at the beginning of my career as a submarine sonar officer in the late 1980s, followed by research and a PhD specializing in underwater acoustic positioning. DBV has focused on custom products and creating new technology. Really, it's just about trying to solve the hardest problems there are right now in the ocean environment. Our customers include governments, militaries, academic institutions, and commercial companies. Ropeless Systems Incorporated is a new company formed in 2020 to commercialize Ropeless RISER with an emphasis on the design for manufacturing and the design for mass production so that we can bring the prices down to an affordable level and ensure our equipment reaches the widest number of fishers possible. Before I talk about Ropeless RISER, I'd like to first describe RISER itself. RISER is an acronym for Remote Instrument and Submerged Equipment Recovery. Basically, it's an acoustically actuated enclosed flotation bag that allows us to bring equipment from the seafloor back to the surface. It comes in all manner of sizes, shapes, depths, from tens to hundreds of feet, and lift capacities, from a few pounds to thousands of pounds. DBV has marketed and sold RISER in a multitude of configurations since 2014. To demonstrate RISER in action, I'm going to show a video of an early system being tested in a pool. The equipment being recovered is a trawl-resistant bottom mount, measuring 6 feet by 4 feet by 2 feet and weighing 80 pounds. It is being raised by an internal bag with 200 pounds of lift capacity. This next video shows another RISER variant in an open water environment. This particular system controls the recovery of a fish tracking device that gets deployed for a year to depths up to 300 feet. The unit measures 36 inches in diameter and weighs 30 pounds. It is being raised from 75 feet by an internal bag with 65 pounds lift capacity. In the previous two videos, you were not able to see the bag inflate, so this next video shows another RISER variant in which the bag inflation will be clearly visible. The lift capacity on this particular bag is 200 pounds. As one might suspect, application of RISER to the recovery of fishing gear is a natural extension of the technology. But we've gone even further, because not only have we adapted RISER for the recovery of fishing gear, we've also focused on the acoustic positioning using something that we call single ping positioning. In fact, this presentation could just have easily been in the earlier session on gear location marking. Our new sonar technology allows a hands-free, intuitive way to avoid gear conflict and perform gear identification. Does the gear belong to me, or does it belong to somebody else? Perhaps most importantly, we provide a means for chart plotter integration so it is an easy, intuitive visual display. What are the key benefits of Ropeless RISER? Well, first and foremost, there's no change to fishing operations. You fish just like you do now. You get to know where your gear is, not where it was. It utilizes automatic hands-free positioning. There's no reporting to a database, no buttons to push, nothing to report. Importantly, there are no complicated ship maneuvers that are required, like you have to do if you're using only ranges from an acoustic modem, for example. The only action required is when it's time to retrieve gear, and that consists of a simple touch on a screen on a chart plotter. In fact, you can perform the recall action when you're approaching your gear, so it's already on the surface waiting for you when you arrive. We're able to provide these benefits with something we've called single ping positioning. We locate all gear without needing the ship to move, and we distinguish individual traps from trawls, and we locate both ends of the trawls. Finally, we're able to conserve power with something we call respond once technology. This prevents the continuous interrogations from many fishing vessels from depleting batteries when gear is deployed down on the seafloor, which is an issue that's been raised in the past with traditional transponders. So how does Ropeless RISER provide these key benefits? It employs a two-part system, a surface transceiver shown at the upper right and a seafloor transponder shown on the lower right. The surface transceiver is installed on all vessels that want to locate all of the seafloor gear, and the transponders are installed on all seafloor gear. The surface transceiver has a ship-mounted transducer, and similar to an echo sounder, just pings automatically and continuously at a certain rate. Any gear-mounted transponders within the ship's hearing radius receive the transmission, decode it, and have their positions displayed on a chart plotter. All this occurs without any action required by the operator of the system. The operator just simply looks at the chart display and sees all the gear around the vessel where it is right now on the seafloor. Here we show a couple different configurations of the system. To the right is an example of Ropeless RISER attached to an individual trap in the process of ascending to the surface. And at the bottom, there's two systems in their stowed configuration attached to traps at the end of a trawl. And in the upper left is the surface transceiver that communicates with any of the transponder actuators, regardless of the configuration actually deployed on the seafloor. Let's take a closer look at the pieces of the system that comprise Ropeless RISER. First is the Ropeless RISER transceiver. As we already stated, there is one installed on each surface vessel. It interfaces to a chart plotter, and it continuously and automatically sends out pings to locate and display gear, just as an echo sounder automatically pings and displays depth information, or a fish finder displays fish targets. Any gear on the seafloor equipped with a transponder replies to the automatic interrogations, the signals are decoded, range and bearing is measured, and positions are displayed on the chart plotter. There's no buttons to push and no action required by the operator. It is important to mention that the Ropeless RISER system employs transponders, not an acoustic modem. An acoustic modem is meant for transferring data, not to identify, distinguish, and locate objects. An acoustic modem is a complex, expensive device for interfacing with a computer. A transponder is a much simpler and cheaper device if you think of the transponder on your car for electronic tolls such as EasyPass. As we indicated before, RISER is highly configurable to meet a user's particular requirements, but all RISER systems have the following components in common. First, there's an acoustic transponder actuator. Second, the transmit and receive transducer attached to it. And there's a rolled inflatable lift bag, and these bags can be made in different sizes and shapes to accommodate different user requirements. There's a compressed air cylinder, and this can be changed depending upon the depth and the lift capacities that are required. This is all packaged into a lightweight protective aluminum frame, which of course can also be customized as needed. And this assembly allows for universal attachment to different lobster and crab pot configurations. The previous slide showed a RISER configuration with a 200-pound lift bag and a 19 cubic foot compressed gas supply that is rated to 175 feet. Here the configuration is larger, but it has the same basic components. It has the same acoustic transponder actuator and the transmit-receive transducer, but it now has a larger 80 cubic foot compressed gas cylinder and a 550-pound flotation bag. This allows for deeper depths and heavier lift operations. For example, multi-trap trawls in 600 feet. This slide shows the Ropeless RISER anchor configuration for use with trawls. Here we have placed a system at each end of the trawl. This allows the surface vessels to identify each end and also provides redundancy. The operator can choose to recover either end of the system. Now I'd like to shift the discussion to focus more about our solution to gear location and gear conflict resolution. We accomplish this by using single ping positioning. This allows the fisher to know where the gear is on the seafloor now, not where the surface location was when it was deployed a week ago. So the sequence works like this. The vessel operator approaches the general vicinity of the deployed gear location. The system is automatically and continuously pinging. All gear replies are processed and displayed on the chart plotter. The gear is identified as mine or not mine. It shows individual traps and trawls. And this can even be better than trying to look for a buoy on a foggy day. When the operator chooses to recover particular gear, it's done from the bridge with the push of a button on the touchscreen of a chart plotter. There's no ship maneuvers to do surveying. There's no reporting of information. And the locations are available to other fishing vessels and also to law enforcement as long as those vessels are in the vicinity and are equipped with the transceivers. Presently, these distances are about a mile, but they can be increased or decreased depending upon final requirements. So what does all this look like to the operator? Similar to echo sounders, which are constantly and automatically pinging and measuring and displaying depth of the bottom, Ropeless RISER is also constantly pinging and measuring the location of all the gear on the seafloor and displaying it on the chart plotter. The following animation shows this in action and shows an example of the type of display that the operator would see. This next video shows an example of how quickly the operator can get the system out of the water and ready to go back in the water for its next deployment. When the system comes to the surface, the operator hauls it on board and swaps it out with another unit that's ready to go back in. No buttons to push, no programming. The system registers this automatically. You continue to haul and process your trawl as usual, and as you steam away to your next location, you can go through the rearming process so that it's ready to go back in the water when you arrive. From all of us on the Ropeless Systems team, thank you for taking the time to listen to our presentation today. We look forward to answering any questions on Monday during the live meeting. If you're interested in seeing additional videos of different configurations of the RISER system in action, we have more of them available on the website ropeless.us. Thank you.